edges is something that I find artists that are a little bit more along their path before they truly respect and value the power of edges. Because in the beginning, it's like you're dealing with line, you're trying to just draw the same angle as the thing that you're seeing or something like that.
Right.
You start learning about shadow because those are very exciting and very dramatic or just emotional. Um, then people they naturally want to get to color as well pretty quick, but the studying of edges and being really just thoughtful about edges seems to be something that comes a little later for most artists.
I would hope.
And so, uh, what is the importance of edges?
Well, edges, I'll troll again to wake people up. So, edges are overrated. They are not important. um, and okay, so let me go deconstruct that a little bit. You're absolutely right. I think people get into edges much too fast. And people look at advanced painters doing fancy things with edges, and that's all that they see. And they start jumping into edges before the drawing is correct, before the structure is right, before the values are right. And so they're screwing around with edges way, way, way too fast. And usually the instruction comes over when they just paint something over to make a shape right, and all those fancy edges are gone, yet it reads 10 times better. So edges are icing. They are, as you said, they are much, much further down the path. And are edges important to making a beautiful painting? Absolutely not. Look at graphic painters. Uh, they have all the tools available to them. They use all tools. They use drawing, they use value, they use color, shape, everything that a traditional painter uses. The one thing that they do not, that they completely say we will not do, is edges. And yet you can make something that is naturalistic and beautiful with no edges whatsoever. And I kind of even think it's probably a better way of learning painting more graphically. And like I was saying, with the light and dark, I'm trying to get people to think more graphically and make decisions about things, because that's really where the beauty is. And a lot of times in these various lessons, I think graphically at first, and then I will manipulate an edge. But the graphic shape comes first. The decision about corners of the shapes comes first. Length and width and direction come first, then the edges. Because with edges, it's easy, like I was saying, with people who are being taught with gouache. That was the whole point behind that, is that was enforcing the delay of instruction about edges from after they had mastered drawing and shape. So, graphic painting is a perfect example of something, where, edges simply are not part of that universe. And is it less expressive? Is it less beautiful? Not on your life. Is it really useful to learn how to paint graphically? Does that make your eventual use of edges much stronger? Absolutely. So I would really recommend students to not mess around with edges too soon. And, I spent a year painting graphically on a film with no edges at all. And it was a huge help for me. My shape and drawing is much stronger because it was forced upon me to not use any edges. So the other big part of that class, the major point that I wanted to make with that class, is edges and shadows. And that is something that I see constantly in beginning painters is too many hard edges in shadow areas. I know that's very specific, but it's kind of an odd thing that it's such a common mistake. Um, so like if you look at the darkest part of a painting, say you're painting a head with standard 45-degree lighting, and where would the darkest darks be? Probably underneath the ear in the shadow of where the hair falls off the back of the head. Let's just say that's the darkest dark of that painting. People will put all kinds of edges in there, hard, sharp, contrasty edges, and it pops right out. Um, there's a lot of examples that I bring up in that lesson of how where light falls away, where things start to get darker, there has to be a lessening of contrast, and by that also edges. Where there is more light, there is more definition, there is more clarity, you can have much harder edges there. But as things go into shadow, they have to start softening.
Schoolism proudly presents Digital Painting with Craig Mullins. Over 9 lessons, Craig is going to go over the core fundamentals behind his digital paintings, learn his thoughts, philosophies, and watch his demos. Each of the 9 lessons comes with assignments to fully understand and absorb the methods. If you're a fan of Craig Mullins, or if you're a digital painter, this is the course for you.